This is our unit on the legislative branch in the United States Congress. Congress is housed in that building you see there. It's the Capitol in Washington. You're probably familiar with it. As you can see on the Capitol building, there are kind of two sides. Well, there are two parts of Congress, or two parts of the legislative branch, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Both make our laws. Today we're going to talk about the House. When we talk about the House, we're talking about the House of Representatives. The United States Congress is bicameral. It's got two houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Congress's main job is to make laws, although it does play a role in formulating policies and advising the President significantly on policy issues. Congress shall assemble at least once every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the third day of January. That's the Congressional Organizational Amendment. In other words, Congress starts its business at noon on the third day of January, and then they meet throughout the year conducting business. Here's the House of Representatives. It's pretty full, isn't it? The House of Representatives is large. It's based on population. You can see the Speaker of the House there in front of the flags, and all the people listening and conducting business on the House of Representatives floor. So as we said, the House is based on population, 435 members for the entire United States, and each state is entitled to at least one seat, and then more based on their population. Some states only have one. The qualifications for serving in the House, you have to be 25 years old, you have to be a citizen at least 7 years. You could be a foreign-born person and a citizen of another country who was naturalized or got U.S. citizenship, but you have to be here as a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years. You have to reside in the state that you're running in. So if I wanted to run for the House of Representatives in Wisconsin, I would have to have a residence somewhere in Wisconsin. Salary is about $175,000. You get a 2-year term, and all members are up for re-election every 2 years. So every 2 years, everyone's got to run. Most people who run for re-election are re-elected, 90% rate. If you think about it, those people have good name recognition, they have mailings, and they're in the news a lot. So they're recognized and get re-elected, although obviously there are some people that are removed every year as well. Important terms here: census, reapportionment, and redistricting. Remember, we said that every state gets a certain amount of representatives based on their population. Well, how does the United States figure out how many people there are? It conducts a census, a count every 10 years of people in every state. And based on that, there's reapportionment. So different states have different population trends. Some are losing people, some are gaining people. States with faster growth or more growth than other states, or states that are growing, get more representatives. Some states might lose some. We're going to look at the map in that in a minute. After the reapportionment and each state figures out how many representatives they get, redistricting takes place. This is the drawing of the lines to set up the representatives' districts. Usually this is done by state legislatures, but sometimes there's a commission that does it. States abuse this powers, we'll see. Roughly, each district has 670,000 people. Okay, here's a map of the United States. If you look at each state, you'll see how many representatives the states have. The House, as we said, is based on population. Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, states with very small populations only get one representative. States with large populations, Florida, Texas, California, New York, have more, significantly more. 53 for California, 32 for Texas. Now take a look at those colors. The light green and the up top towards Wisconsin and the Midwest and the upper Great Lakes is interesting. The light green means that in the last census, those states lost a representative. The dark greens means those states lost 2 representatives, New York and Pennsylvania. Look at the light blue. Those states had population growth, so they gained a representative. The dark blue gained 2. So significant growth in the South and the Southwest, and population loss in the upper Midwest region. The Wisconsin congressional map, and you can see there are 8 districts. The first district starting down in the southeast corner, and then moving across the state from east to west, and then we go north. We get the first, the second in Madison, the third over by La Crosse, fourth Milwaukee, fifth is Waukesha in suburban Milwaukee, We have the 6th, which is Fond du Lac. We have the 7th then, which is Marshfield and the Northwoods, all the way up to Ashland and Superior, over towards Eagle River, Minocqua. And then the 8th District, Green Bay, Appleton, the Fox Valley cities, Kaukauna, Little Chute, Kimberly, and the Northwoods by Oconto and Marinette. Look at the way the districts are formed. Most of them look pretty straightforward. 5th, 2nd, 1st. But notice that some districts get very strange shapes. Our district, for example, has a large, deep cut into it down into Adams and Juneau County. This is a process called gerrymandering. And gerrymandering is basically the party in power sizes up the district and tries to carve it in an advantageous way for the party in power. So the party in power at the state level were the Republicans, and they redrew the lines in the last redraw. And Democrats do the same thing. They try to draw the lines in a way that favors their people and gives them the best advantage. Wisconsin is a little bit of that going on, but some states are even more significant. Take a look. Here's a map of the United States, and you can see the districts there. Hardly any of them look like any sort of perfect squares. They're drawn, as I said, to incorporate people into the district that the party in power wants, and to take people from districts that they want to remove and shuffle around to give them the best advantage in an election. Here's a significant advantage of an example of a gerrymander in Texas. Take a look at this on the next slide. Okay, so look at the districts up by San Antonio and Austin here in 2002. Two districts that look fairly straightforward. Go down to 2004 and you have a classic gerrymander. In fact, an insane gerrymander. You've got lines for a district drawn all the way down to McAllen on the Mexican border, really cutting up the first district and trying to redraw it to the best advantage of the party in power. I'm not sure that this gerrymander was allowed to stand. There's certain things that you can't do from a racial perspective. Sometimes gerrymandering is reversed, but again, Republicans and Democrats do this alike, as you'll see in the next slide. When the lines are drawn, they're drawn to the advantage of the party in power to the best of their ability to do so. Some states have their Supreme Court or other nonpartisan commissions look over the redrawn lines to make sure they're fair for everyone, giving a little bit of latitude for the parties in power, and that's perhaps a nice system to have. But so that's how the lines are drawn. So what I would do is go back and you can look at our little cartoon, which is next, which talks about both Republicans and Democrats doing the gerrymandering sort of thing. But review. The House is based on population. There are 435 members of the House, and they're divided up based on population to different states. Every 10 years there's a census. The census is the count. After the census, there's reapportionment. Those 435 go to different states based on population trends. And once that's done, it's time for redistricting, redrawing the lines, and it's usually the party in power that is able, at the state level, not at the national level. So if the Democrats have President Obama and they hold Congress, but Scott Walker and the Republicans hold the governorship and the Assembly and Senate here in Wisconsin, it would be the Republicans in Wisconsin that would redraw the lines and not the Democrats. So it's whoever holds power in the state legislature at the state level who usually does the redistricting. Well, that's the House of Representatives. We'll take a look at the Senate soon.